if you are doing any kind of research or working towards your research goals, then there is a high chance that you have come across the term Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. These classifications are part of something called Scopus Quartiles, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what they mean. Hi, if you are new here, welcome. Here we talk about research and everything related to it. So if you find this video useful, don't forget to subscribe so that you, my friend, don't miss out on any future updates. So let's get started with today's topic, quartiles. Quartile 1, also known as Q1, refers to the top 25% of journals within a subject area. In other words, if you take all the journals in a specific field and arrange them from best to worst, then the top 25% will be considered as Q1. The logic behind this is quite simple. If you want to publish your research in a high-impact factor journal, you need to select a Q1 journal. As a result, when you submit your paper to a Q1 journal, your chances of getting accepted are higher as compared to Q2, Q3, or Q4. This means that the impact of publishing in a Q1 journal is greater than Q2, Q3, or Q4. Q2, on the other hand, represents the second best category and includes the next 25% of journals after Q1. Similarly, Q3 constitutes the following 25% of journals, and Q4 is the final category, which by default includes the remaining 25% of journals. Thus, these four categories divide all the journals into four equal parts or quartiles, hence the name quartile. For example, let's say we have a total of 800 journals in a specific subject area. Then Q1 will consist of the top 200 journals, Q2 will have the next 200 journals, Q3 will have the next 200 journals, and finally Q4 will consist of the remaining 200 journals. It's important to note that the quartile of a journal can change over time as the number of journals in a particular subject area keeps changing. A journal that was once in Q2 might move to Q3 or even Q4 if more journals are added to the subject area and it becomes one of the top 25%. To illustrate this with an example, let's take the subject area of engineering and technology. Within this broad field, we have a list of journals and their corresponding quartiles. It's important to keep in mind that the quartile of a journal does not necessarily correspond to its impact factor. For instance, in the previous example, the IEE transactions on electron devices has a higher impact factor than IEE transactions on magnetics, despite being in Q3 instead of Q2. This is because the impact factor of a journal depends on the number of citations received by its recent articles, whereas the quartile of a journal is based on a more comprehensive analysis of various factors such as the number of articles, the impact of those articles, and the relative standing of the journal within its subject area. In fact, quartiles are more reliable indicators of a journal's quality and reputation than impact factor for several reasons. Firstly, they consider a larger number of factors beyond just the number of citations. Secondly, they are based on a more detailed and rigorous evaluation process that takes into account the specific characteristics of each subject area. Lastly, quartiles are updated more frequently than impact factors, which are typically updated annually. That being said, quartiles should not be the only criterion used to evaluate the quality of a journal or make decisions about where to publish research findings. Other important factors to consider include the journal's scope, audience, and reputation within the field, as well as the specific requirements and preferences of the target journal. And that's it for today's video. I hope that you found it useful and informative. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.